Hi, my name is Tara Conklin. I am teaching book lab this fall at Hugo House, and I am so excited to be leaving the cohort of writers in this really, really special class. It's a year-long class, really focused on finishing a manuscript, getting it out to publishers, and sort of turning the dream of writing a book into the reality of writing one. I come to Hugo House as a teacher after many, many years being a student here. I've taken classes in fiction and short stories and novel writing and poetry and kind of you name it. So I love Hugo House, and I think it is an amazing place to learn and to make connections and to really launch a writing career, which is exactly what I did. I have two novels out there at the moment, and I'm working on my third. The first is called The House Girl. The second is called The Last Romantics. Both were New York Times bestsellers and have been translated into a bunch of different languages. The Last Romantics, which came out in February of last year, was chosen by Jenna Bush Hager for the Today Show Book Club, which was very exciting. And yeah, and I'm really thrilled to be teaching at Hugo House and giving back some of the knowledge that I have learned here. The special program. It's a really small cohort of between 5 to 8 writers who are at a stage in their writing process and writing development to really focus full time for a full year on one manuscript. And basically the class is structured so that the first 10 weeks, we meet weekly via Zoom, obviously, in these crazy times. And we get to know each other's projects, we get to know each other. Where there are going to be some guest speakers. We will talk about craft. We will do reading and critiques of each other's work. And it'll be a really kind of intensive 10-week process of diving into our own manuscripts and getting to know each other's. Following that, we'll meet once per month. We will have 6 of these meetings with the full cohort as people are kind of developing their manuscripts further. And during that time, each member of the cohort will meet with me at least 4 times, one-on-one, to really dive into the manuscripts and do some serious editing and serious development of whatever your project is. You also, and this is something that's really unique and really valuable about this class, is you will get at least 2 full reads of your manuscript with meaningful feedback. One full read from me, and then one from a writer of your choosing. Within limits. I think if we call Jonathan Franzen, he might be busy. But most of the readers come from the very experienced, really wonderful manuscript editors who work regularly with Hugo House. But also if there's someone who you in particular, if a member of the cohort is really interested in having a particular reader, I can certainly use my connections, and others at Hugo House can use their connections to try and get your manuscript to that person as a reader. And you also get a publishing intensive, a full day publishing intensive course on the book business and how to find a market for your manuscript. And of course, this is sort of the next step that every writer at some point, I think, well, maybe not every writer, but most writers want to take that step to the next level to learn about publishing and learn how to get their work out into the world. And publishing and wacky industry. I've been lucky enough to have had sort of a crash course in it myself over the past 10 years of publishing my work. And it's something that, you can learn the ropes. And the publishing intensive class will include guest speakers, including literary agents and other individuals from the publishing business. So that is a really important kind of second level component of this class, in addition to the craft and the cohort meetings. That there's also a chance for you to take one session class per quarter over 4 quarters. So as you're enrolled in Book Lab, you also have the opportunity to supplement whatever we're doing in Book Lab with other classes, one-day classes of your choice at Hugo House. And as you all probably know already, Hugo House gets some amazing, the best writers in the world come through Hugo House, and a lot of them teach one-day classes. I have taken a lot of the one-day classes. And the downside of Zoom is that we don't get to all sit in the same room and chat. The upside of Zoom is that you can do all of this without being in Seattle, and you can do it from the comfort of your own home in your pajamas if you want. And that is really, I'm trying to look on the bright side of COVID, is that, the audience for this class and the people who can really benefit from Hugo House and everything that Hugo House has to offer is now so much broader, and it's national, so international. So so that's basically how that's everything that Book Lab offers. And you also get access to moi, your mentor, and I'm really excited to be leading my cohort through this process over the next year. With many years of manuscript development and editing expertise. I was a lawyer before I was a full-time writer. And throughout my legal career, I was always writing, and I was always a member of a writing group. And I think that reading other people's work and commenting on it and helping them work their way through the problems is a skill that I have developed kind of throughout my adult life, first as an amateur writer and now as a professional. I've gone through the editing process with a professional, my editor in New York at HarperCollins. And that, twice now, very, very detailed step-by-step editing process, which was in itself an education. And for the past 2 or 3 years, I've had a sort of side gig of working with private clients on manuscript development and editing. And that has really enabled me to work one-on-one with people who are kind of at the place that I was at about a decade ago. And it's been incredibly rewarding for me to help those writers really fine-tune their manuscripts. Well, everything from fine-tuning to really finding their story and finding their characters. I think, editing is a very personal process. There are things you can learn, but a lot of it is having someone read and having someone comment meaningfully on the writing and asking the right questions, because you as the writer will need to answer. You're going to have to answer those questions, and you're going to have to sit down and do those edits. But I can lead you to ask the right questions and to kind of find your story and find your characters. And I love doing that. I think it's a really exciting thing for me to be involved with as a writer myself and as an editor. I bring to Book Lab is a sort of non-traditional background in terms of education and writing. I don't have an MFA. I did not go through any formal writing education. I really have figured out what works for me and use some pretty offbeat methods, both for myself and also in teaching and editing for others. So my toolkit that I'm going to be using in Book Lab is maybe a little bit different than the toolkits that you might have experienced in other classes. So, and I hope that that will be something enriching for for you all. If you want to join me this year for Book Lab, I encourage you to go to hugohouse.org and fill out the application form. And we are reviewing applications now, and we'll be sending out acceptances in the next couple weeks. And the class begins, I believe it is September 30th. So yeah, we are coming up to it, and I'm excited to see you at Book Lab. And I am appearing via Zoom and the Hugo House website for Ask a Novelist, which I guess I've not done this before, but I think it means that you get to ask me questions and I will answer to the best of my ability. And that is this Thursday, the 17th, I believe, of September from 12 to 1. So use it as your lunch hour. You can log on, shoot me some questions about Book Lab or really publishing, writing, editing, anyhow, remote learning with children, which I will be doing in the background. Hopefully there will be no child photo bombs during Ask a Novelist. But yeah, log on this Thursday, 12 to 1.